Next on Hard Copy, a nation in grief and rage as the blood and sex plot of a primetime soap ends in real tragedy.
Remember how good it felt to be young and in shape? Spend some time with us, and it'll all come back to you. With Getting Started, the low-pressure, low-profile, low-impact way to a lifetime of fitness. Only at the Y. Call us today for details. We'll have you feeling better and healthier in just weeks, even if you haven't worked out since high school.
Burgers again, Mom?
Pass the tuna surprise.
You can always tell who's having Popeyes for dinner. Popeye's original spicy taste makes every meal a celebration. And right now you can celebrate with 11 pieces of Popeye's chicken for just $5.99. Make your next meal a taste celebration with Popeyes.
The man, the myth, the legend.
A lot of people say, Rush, we need more people like you. I can handle it, folks.
Endorsed by the Angels, Rush Limbaugh.
Listen to Rush Limbaugh weekday mornings at 10:05 on News Radio AM 1300 KVOR. Watch Rush weekday mornings at 11 on channels 5 and 30.
Channel 5 and 30 is the place to be in southern Colorado. Tonight on Hard Copy, the crime that's frozen 100 million people in front of their TV sets. The blood and sex of Brazil's biggest primetime soap stars has become real life.
It's about sex, it's about death, and it's the biggest scandal that ever happened in television.
Police say superstar lover boy Guilherme and his insanely jealous wife stabbed to death his co-star and TV lover, the beautiful Daniela Perez. Body and soul and blood.
Who was that average-looking lady taking all those school kids on environmental nature walks in the county park? And why was she fired?
I'm not some money-grumpy.
Well, Sabrina's other job was a little different. Sabrina's the lady who used to run the so-called Church of the Most High Goddess.
She's only been able to have sex with 2,762 men. Should be 3,000 or 4,000 by now.
Scandal in the park.
Yes, it's those unavoidable Barbie twins again.
We were major bimbos.
But this time, their message has turned deadly serious.
She went to the hospital and almost had a cardiac arrest.
The Barbies' deadly secrets. This is Hard Copy for Friday, January 8th. 1993. Hello and welcome in New York. I'm Barry Nolan.
And I'm Terry Murphy in Los Angeles. Good evening.
The scenes of mass hysteria and grief are of a magnitude that you might expect if a world leader had been assassinated. But no, the mourning was for Brazil's most popular primetime soap star, stabbed to death in a real-life love tangle with her leading man. A beautiful actress named Daniela tapes a soap opera scene. A young man offers his heart. She rejects it.
Desculpa.
Hours later, in real life, a body is found on the side of the road. The other actors rush to the site. The unimaginable has occurred. They fall to their knees when they see Daniela dead. Daniela's mother, who wrote the very scene that may have brought on the murder, can only weep over her daughter's corpse. Someone had stepped over the line between make-believe and reality. Never had a nation been so obsessed with an actress as was Brazil with Daniela Perez. At 22, Daniela was the most beautiful and beloved TV star in the nation. She had the stature of a goddess and the looks to go with it. She starred in the primetime soap opera Body and Soul, one of the most popular TV shows in the world.
This was the show of the decade. She was the hottest thing to hit Brazilian screen in the last few years.
Daniela's character was named Yasmin, a passionate woman who kept 3 lovers at bay.
She's very impulsive. Yasmin is a person who's not afraid of doing anything.
Each week, Daniela's mother would write the scripts that would decide which lover Yasmin would choose. But all Brazil was rooting for the jealous Bira, played by the handsome newcomer Guilherme de Padua.
They were like a romantic couple, but they never happened. It was a teasing at all times. She was always teasing him, and he was the quiet type, trying to get involved with her and trying to get romance going. So Brazil was cheering for Daniela and Guilherme to get together and be, a couple.
Our own Paul Veronese has many good friends within Brazil's soap opera circle. Paul recently led a hard copy team through the wild side of Rio, and his connections got us right into the sets of these very soaps.
In real life, they were both married. She had a husband and he had a wife. So they were both, to everybody's eyes, happily married.
On what no one suspected to be the last day of her life, Daniela played out the most important scene her mother ever wrote. This would decide if Yasmin and Bira would consummate their passion-filled affair. What no one knew was this would be the scene that would decide her cruel fate. Bira offers Yasmin an engagement ring. Yasmin rejects it and rejects Bira.
After a whole day of shooting and the whole scenes with, breaking up occurs, he is found on the corridors, on the hallways of Global Television, crying hysterically. He's very upset. He's crying, and everybody's asking me, why, asking him, why are you crying? Why are you doing all this? And he's upset because they broke up. But why is he crying? It's a soap opera. They broke up. It's apart. They might get together later again. We don't know. It's a soap.
What happened next is still being sorted out. Hours after the taping, as the crew was editing that scene, word got back to the studio that a horrendous real-life scene had just played out on a roadside not far away. The actors and Daniela's mother rushed to the spot. There they could only weep over Daniela's lifeless body. She had been stabbed 16 times. Hours later, police made an arrest that stunned all Brazil. Daniela's co-star, Guilherme. News reports of Daniela's death overshadowed everything, including the resignation of Brazil's president. Daniela's husband was a broken man who could not contain his grief.
When I found out that she was brutally murdered, and then I found out through the TV how they did it, with a pair of scissors, I couldn't believe that somebody would kill a 22-year-old person who had everything to live for, especially a co-worker.
Then there was beautiful soap star Cristina Oliveira. Hard copies visited her just a few months ago. Then she was so happy. Now her sorrow was clear in any language.
A cara de tudo, né? Desculpa.
All Brazil went into a frenzy over Daniela's death. Thousands attended her funeral and procession to the cemetery where she was laid to rest. And then the sorrow turned to anger. The local television news stoked the fires with a horrific recreation of the murder scene, one that had Guilherme's pregnant wife joining in the slaying in a jealous rage.
Paula das primeiras estocadas em Daniela.
But that was only one scenario.
Guilherme Padua said that he was killing her to prove to his wife that he had no feelings for her whatsoever, that he was not in love with her, that he was not obsessed about her. He did this to prove to his wife that he had nothing, had felt nothing for her.
Guilherme, it seemed, told several stories of what happened, but what caused the greatest uproar was his allegation that he had killed Daniela because she was trying to seduce him.
Everybody is still very mad that Guilherme is saying that Daniela was harassing him. You cannot let that happen. You cannot let a victim become guilty of her own murder, because that would be a second murder, and everybody would be a witness to that crime.
The question tonight is what really happened. Police say Guilherme's wife confessed to helping in the killing. Now she denies it. There have been stories of satanic or black magic rituals, and the lingering rumor that these on-screen lovers were actually involved off-screen as well.
Everybody was very happy with his job on the soap. He was really doing a good job. But we find out he was not acting. The reason he was so good, he was really in love with her. And then he killed her.
In the days since the terrible incident, Daniela Perez has become a star as never before. In death, she has been elevated beyond superstar status to something approaching sainthood. The question remains whether the facts still to emerge will tarnish her stature. Meanwhile, Guillermo de Padua is a marked man. After his arrest, police released him, but he returned to jail on his own for fear of being lynched. Daniela's husband, Raul, is devastated.
He tried suicide a couple days ago, and he was stopped by friends, actors also.
Her co-stars and friends are still overwhelmed, but no one carries more guilt than Daniela's mother. She thought she was writing a sexy scene for Daniela. She wound up writing her daughter's death warrant. We'll let you know when the trial begins. Terry?
Thanks, Barry. Now, why did they fire the kindly lady who took school kids on environmental nature walks at the county park? She used to be the high priestess of sex. That's next. And then the Barbie twin phenomenon turns deadly serious.
Monday on Hard Copy. Are you happy? For 2 days, this millionaire's mansion held a horrible secret. What police discovered would ruin the town's most prominent family. The Lund murders, a family secret. Monday. Back in a moment with more Hard Copy.
If you know of a company that has demonstrated a strong commitment to the development and advancement of women at all levels of the organization, nominate them for the Women of Spirit and Note Corporate Award. For more information, phone 1-800-888-0855. Women of Spirit and Note, part of the 8th Annual Women's Life Festival. Brought to you by the Penrose St. Francis Healthcare Systems, Oldies 92.9, the Gazette Telegraph, and Channels 5 and 30. The number again, 1-800-888-0855. They're back, and better than ever. The Flying W Wranglers return for 2 encore performances with the Colorado Springs Symphony Orchestra, January 22nd and 23rd at 8 p.m. at the Pikes Peak Center. Get ready to kick up your heels for an evening of great country western entertainment. The Flying W Wranglers join the Colorado Springs Symphony Orchestra for a concert you won't want to miss. Sponsored in part by KCS Radio, Cablevision, and Channels 5 and 30. To obtain your tickets today, phone 520-SHOW.
The parents complained. The county park officials reacted, and Sabrina found herself out of a job as the helpful nature walk guide at the county park. And it all had to do with Sabrina's previous religion. Diane Diamond reports.
I'm not some money-grubbing whore the way the police have made me out to be.
She once called herself a high priestess, but now this self-appointed sex goddess is taking a different walk on the wild side, giving nature hikes to the underage set.
I think that we need better role models than to have somebody who has done what she has done be working with a lot of children.
To understand why this parent is so concerned, you have to understand Sabrina Tracy's sexual history. You see, she and her husband, Wilbur Tracy, invented what police call a raunchy religion over 7 years ago. They held church meetings in this house, but the only laying on of the hands happened to be all over Sabrina's middle-aged body.
Hey, sex is sacred. Sex is something good. It's not dirty, sinful, and evil.
Sabrina estimates she's had relations with 2,762 different men.
Actually, I think it's unfortunately that she's only been able to have sex with 2,762 men. It should be 3,000 or 4,000 by now.
The Tracys advertised their Church of the Most High Goddess in sexy magazines, and they became favorites of the talk show set.
Do you get any? What Sabrina's running here is your basic whorehouse.
But Sabrina's sex church abruptly crumbled when she tried to practice her religion on the police. When she asked for a monetary donation, they busted her and her husband for running a brothel.
I have never been a prostitute. What I have been guilty of is just preaching a religion that is slightly far advanced for its time.
Now, after serving a year in jail, Sabrina is back. But she's traded in her signature sequins and fishnet stockings for khakis and hiking boots. That's right. Here at the Plaza Rita Nature Center in Los Angeles, Sabrina has been preaching a different type of birds and bees. Not to men her own age, but to pint-sized Cub Scouts.
Groups from schools come out, either private or public, whatever, and we'll take them through and show them all the particular plants. Oh, finally, there's one of these trees I was telling you about, the sycamore tree.
Sabrina spent 10 weeks training to be what's called a docent naturalist. She graduated and started giving hikes, all on a volunteer basis. But then the local papers got wind of the fact that a convicted hooker priestess was taking young school kids out into the woods. Parents started to go wild.
They believe that she will be teaching their children immoral things during this nature hike.
I'm infinitely qualified, having a master's degree in environmental science, and more qualified than most of the staff there.
Just days after the newspaper reports, hard copy went to the Nature Center to pay Sabrina a visit. We were told she was no longer on the schedule.
It's my opinion that in the best interest of the program, I should ask Miss Tracy to step aside to try to remove that controversy.
Too bad they didn't bother to tell Sabrina she was fired.
Everyone admits I was doing a fine job, so there was no reason why I should be removed, and I don't think I should be.
Sabrina says she'll be filing a lawsuit next week against the Los Angeles County Parks and Recreation Department.
It's hurt the center, it's hurt participation of people at the center.
I'm not asking for any special treatment. I'm just asking, let me do what other people are allowed to do.
I'm not sure even the plants were safe. Barry?
Now, the Barbie twins. Sometimes they seem unavoidable, but tonight they get deadly serious.
I've heard a lot of women think that we're so perfect. We're far from perfect. And that's very nice. Yeah.
That's next.
My best invention yet. 2,000 flushes chlorine clear tablet. The first chlorine tablet to help bleach out stains up to 4 months. 2,000 flushes chlorine clear tablet.
Save up to $1.50 with offer in Sunday's paper.
It's never fun to eat and run, to rush and eat too fast, 'cause you know it's gonna catch up with you at last.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
How much pressure can you put on the tip of a nail before it breaks? It depends on how you care for it.
Skin Science Update from Vaseline Intensive Care.
I'm Joan London, and at Vaseline Intensive Care Research, they've developed a hand and nail formula containing keratin and liposomes. It softens skin and it makes nails 30% stronger. A fact you can check for yourself. They have a money-back guarantee.
30% stronger nails. From intensive research comes intensive care.
Accelerate the pace of your career. Others have
a college degree. I'm only a high school graduate. I'm over 40. I'd be a million before I ever got out of school. And she said, well, why don't you go to Regis?
My personal career needed a shot of vitamins in it to really get it going.
It was a wonderful journey.
Anyone out there who wants a good degree, a sound education, Regis University is your best bet.
Regis University. It can work for you, too.
As a reporter, local news means trying to have a handle on what we see all around us. But it also means scratching the surface, trying to expose what we don't see. Now, that's almost always controversial. And in any given situation, there's no right or wrong answer, just different points of view.
NBC Nightly News and Eyewitness News. In touch with America. In touch with Southern Colorado.
It was hardly news that the Barbie twins took it all off for Playboy again, but behind the cover, a story of equally dramatic proportions, a case of double bulimia.
Together again.
They were the most anticipated holiday sequel Hollywood had to offer, the return of Shane and Sia, the Barbie twins.
When we first started, we were major bimbos. And now we've kept the image.
Now we're just semi-bimbos.
Two of a kind.
In the past weeks, Hollywood unloaded a Barbie bonanza. The twins have a new Playboy spread, a new calendar, giant postcards, a phone line, and as if they didn't learn their lesson the first time, a brand new billboard. You remember what happened to the last one, the one that put them on the map in the first place.
The last one was splattered to death, so we'll see if this one. We had a lot of people against that one. I mean, I'm all for
They're
people.
more accepting of us, though, now.
I think because women love to hate us. No, they've learned to accept us. We're
intriguing. They want to see what we're all about.
Freak show, you know? So, you know, you get 2 for the price of 1 and a circus-free sideshow.
But there's a serious story behind the sideshow. Just like those other supermodels in this week's People magazine, the Barbies are coming clean about their bouts with eating disorders, their own tragic tale of success through self-destruction.
We deal with a food disorder because we grew up in a dysfunctional family, trying to look good. We developed bulimia, which is a very ugly disease. But
it's not glamorous.
No, it's not glamorous. It seemed like it was more hip and in to be, not that it's good, but to be with coming off of drugs or alcohol.
It was more embarrassing to say that you're bulimic or a food disorder rather than a drug addict.
The Barbies say they developed twin cases of bulimia long before they turned from belly dancing to posing together. It was a quick and easy way to keep their weight on their chests and nowhere else. It kept them in magazines and on calendars.
Those models are so skinny and they eat so much. And I'm usually starving. And, you know, after a point of starving, of course, you binge and you can't afford to lose the weight. So what do? You do something destructive. And that's what I got into the habit of it. And I didn't like it. I didn't like, my weight may have, even though I did put abuse on us, our weight stayed very slim. And we would exercise to death, which is a form of bulimia. I had no balance and no sanity. It was a disease. She went to the hospital and almost had a cardiac arrest by taking too many laxatives. I mean, she did more than what Karen Carpenter did. And we said, never again, and she still did it after. The next day, you just, all pain goes when you see that you lose 10 pounds in one night, and you think, wow, I'm thin. And you just block out all the hell that you went through, but then you have to get a grip on yourself and you say, this isn't right.
With Sia recovering from her near-fatal bout with bulimia, the twins decided to leave their reclusive hideaway in Malibu to seek help.
We went through all kinds. We did
workshops. We did workshops, 12-step programs. But now I'm starting to feel good about myself.
It feels good with a career.
Oh, the success of Playboy is making me feel very good.
It was during their therapy that Playboy called again, asking the twins to star in another big photo layout. It was then that Shane and Sia decided to put the results to the test in their own special way.
It was therapy for us to just go naked. It's just say, hey, it's no big deal. The body's beautiful, and see it as art, beauty, whatever you want to see. And you know, if it's arousing, fine. That's okay.
We were at our heaviest in a few of those shots, and it looked fine. It really did. So it was nice therapy. It was like, all right, we're not perfect, which is a part of the disease, because you don't want to do anything.
Yeah, unless you're perfect. I'm not going to take off my clothes until
I see how it looked, and it was fine.
Thanks to their new show-all therapy, the new issue of Playboy is flying off the stands, and their new calendar is the #1 seller in the world. But the twins say it's their personal triumphs that have made 1993 2 times as special. And wait until you hear their resolutions.
I would love it if I would stay celibate for now until I get married. I don't know how long that will last.
Please. Okay, now can we stop the fairy tales?
As you can see, the Barbies have returned to full health. Now, a love triangle that left 3 dead and one of Minnesota's most prominent families in ruins. More on that in a moment.
Lowest prices anywhere. Super selection. What are they talking about? The incredible 6% sale at Big Sur Waterbeds.
When I came to Big Sur Waterbeds, I found that their everyday prices were even less than the 50% off sale prices at the other stores.
Big Sur's guaranteed lowest prices, plus an additional 6% savings equals your best price on a waterbed. And you'll save even more on selected closeout and scratch and dent items. Big Sur Waterbeds, America's largest, sheltered in Platt in Colorado Springs and in front of the Pueblo Mall.
I don't just work for Al Capone. I'd kill for him.
I don't just work for Elliot Ness. I keep him alive.
Looks like one of us is going to be out of a job.
Introducing a new television series about truth, justice, and the Chicago way. The Untouchables.
Premiering January 15th on channels 5 and 30.
Now it's a murder trial that's rocked an entire city and brought ruin to one of its most prominent families. For 2 days, this millionaire's mansion held a horrible secret: the bodies of his wife and her lover. For 2 days, supermarket tycoon Russell Lund Jr. plotted to keep the murder a secret. What police discovered in that house would ruin the town's most prominent family as Lund's lawyers hid him in a psychiatric ward.
Are you happy?
And it was there that Lund took his own life. The Lund Murders, a Family Secret. Monday on Hard Copy. In New York, I'm Barry Nolan. Good night.
And in Los Angeles, I'm Terry Murphy. Before we go, a look at a couple of Hard Copy viewers. The first is Casanova Ace, who's appearing with Frank Sinatra in Las Vegas later this month. And I think you'll recognize the second one. Have a wonderful weekend. Good night.
All over the country, people are watching Hard Copy. They're watching Hard Copy because the #1. You can tell a friend, just go and run. Did you hear what they said on Hard Copy? They're the ones that got the news in the place to be. They are #1 and yes, it's cool. Do it like this, Joe Terry is cool. See, Barry is in New York where it is cold weather. Hard like a rock and tougher than leather. In L.A. is a girl named Terry. Terry is very, 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 very smart and intelligent. They do like this go ever since. They are the one. They've got the news. Watch Hard Copy. You cannot lose. Hard Copy is the one. Hard Copy is the one. You do it like this. Sometimes they have fun. They can tell the news and tell it right. Hard Copy is #1. Mighty Hard Copy. Do it like this. Sometimes what they say might shock me, but I don't care. I watch it anyway. I watch Hard Copy each and every day from Monday through Friday. Barry Nolan, Terry Murphy, they are the ones, and yes, they might shock you. Do it like this.